I suppose. Again. So my name is Mark Palizza. I'm sort of the newbie on the board.
Stacy Lanius.
And maybe as we start, maybe we can go around the room. It's easy to see who's on the screen, but just so everyone in the room knows who's in the room, maybe we can go clockwise, starting with Greg.
Greg Bertie, BHP. Bobby Sherman with BHP.
You know us.
Paige Coleman, I'm part of the management team at Tamarack.
Jerry Frisbee, also part of the team here at Cameron. And I do want to say to everybody, please make sure you speak up when you ask any question or make a comment. Please be sure to speak up so the microphones can pick you up. B. Madden, 221, 223 is here. Rita Mahalchik,
208. Yeah.
208. Amy Gass, who is here representing Denny Lauterbach, right, in 340.
Perfect. So what we're here for today is just a very preliminary conversation about the roof situation here at Tamarack. Very preliminary, and you'll see why in a minute, because the information that we're going to give you is very preliminary. So what we've learned over the course of this winter is the lodge roof is leaking. And because the lodge roof is leaking, the board needs to take action on the lodge roof. And that is in a plan. I want to emphasize that word plan. We've got a plan. We don't have a lot of information yet. We'll come back to you when we have more information. But that's, you know, the first question on any roof is, you know, is the roof leaking? Well, the roof is leaking. So because the roof is leaking, we need to do something about the roof. The history of the roofs here at Tamarack, and now we'll go a little bit broader. The roof at the lodge is 25 years old. Tamarack was built around 73, 74. I helped do that a little bit when I was a Fort Lewis student. But 25 years later, the roofs were replaced. That was about 1998. And if you do the math, 25 years later is about 2003. So we're there, and the roofs are aged and they're leaking. Now at the clusters, we have the roofs were replaced in 1999, 2000, and 2001. High Point, Pinecone, Gamble. And we don't know the conditions of the roofs at the clusters right now. We know time has passed, and this is a harsh environment for roofs. This past winter was an eye-opener in how harsh the environment can be. And that's what we know. We have had some evidence of leakage at some of the clusters. There was one at High Point that I think we'd say was a pretty disastrous leak over the course of the winter. There's been some seeps. I've got a seep in my place, a pie-shaped little watermark along the edge that is just a telltale. So we don't know. I liken it sort of to a set of tires on a car that need replacement or may need replacement. We've got a tire that the steel belts are showing. And then we have wear tread indicators on 3 other tires that are showing that we need to pay attention. So what the board has done is we've retained an independent expert, an architect. The company's name is SEH in Durango. And if some of you may have attended the workshop that we had a week or so ago, where she gave a presentation, and she's very good. And they are going to do an analysis of the roofs here, look at options, look at the conditions out at the clusters, and report back relatively soon. It'll be an independent analysis. She's an architect. She will have engineers available to look at various options and come back. And that will be relatively soon. I don't want to predict the exact date, but the board, just to sort of outline our schedule, the board meets our noticed or planned meeting is the 28th of May. So we have a lot of steps to take before the 28th of May before we can make a careful decision. We'll have that report. The board will have to, will want to hear from owners again. That report will be presented in probably another workshop mode, maybe another conversation like we're having right now to hear what people want. But ultimately, the board will have to make a decision relatively soon so we can deal with the lodge roof before we have another season like we've had this year. So that is all we know at this point in time. Yes.
Do you have a preliminary idea before going into this, what you anticipate the roofing materials will be? Are you going back with a metal roof? Are you going to have a roof that has a warranty for 50 years maybe? I replaced 2 roofs on homes, in West Texas that were the same price as replacing a wood shake roof like you have up here. The metal roof, it was a Decker roof. The metal roof has lasted through 2 hailstorms for the past 10 years. I have a 50-year warranty on it. I'm assuming you're not going to replace part of the roof, or this or that or the other thing by having more cedar shingles put up, which is a fire hazard. Has anybody thought about roofing materials or what you anticipate the replacement would be, or anything in that regard? After you meet with the architectural people?
Yeah, I can probably comment on that if you want. So we did have Allison as well as a roofer for the property that day. I will tell you that while I think all of us on the board originally thought metal roof would be great from a standpoint of what it looks like and how long it lasts. We were advised by Allison, the architect, that would put us at risk of snow slides. And she did not think that was advisable, especially on the west side of the building, just because of the possible buildup of snow and heavy snow events and the opportunity for that snow to slide down. I'm sure everybody heard about what happened up at Purgatory with the family and their kids. So she advised against metal. She also advised that the composite roof does have, for lack of a better way of putting it, I'll call it a traction factor for the snow, so that it would not slide. And she recommended that that we'd likely consider that. Keep in mind, these are initial observations without her providing the full study. Pat Delaney, who was a roofer with us, agreed with that. But I would also tell you this: metal, you can probably say you got a 50-year warranty. The composite roofs, none of them are going to last 50, whether they say it or not. We're at the end of the life of obviously our cedar shake. I think we're probably looking at any material we buy, trying to get at least a 30-year warranty on it. But again, that's part of what having Allison, Pat, and any other roofers that submit bids on this involved is the process we're going through now. So I hope that answers the question. I mean, keep in mind, a West Texas roof is a lot different than a roof we have, here in Durango. I've got a metal roof in Houston, and I love it. But again, it's also probably 25% more expensive.
And I'll add that to answer your question, yes, we're looking at all materials. One of the big points that Allison made, and a big topic of conversation, was even insulation and in the roof. And in Texas, that's not usually part of a roofing discussion. And so, yes, we're looking at all layers of materials to get the best quality, long-lasting price.
Yeah, there's a lot of different materials now than there were 20 years ago.
Yep.
And even now, there are, it's just, that answers my question.
It's a good question. And that's why we have some independent experts in this field advising us
Right.
and
Yeah.
walking the property and, it can we patch this? Does it need a new roof? All those questions we're
Right.
looking into, and it's early
That pretty
stage.
much answers my question.
And just one other thing is, and what if we can leave today with one understanding is bring us your thoughts. And I'll give a website, or a email site that, suggestions, electronic suggestion box. But, Allison has a term that's interesting to her. She calls it scope creep. So there's one thing can lead to another on roofing, and, there's an ideal place. We don't know where that place is right now. With metal roofs are more expensive. They have pros and cons. Scott gave a con in the front of the lodge. At the front of the lodge, there's heating options for the roof's edges in cold climates. Heating leads to the water has to be heated going to someplace to the ground, and when it hits the ground, the water has to go someplace. So it's a one thing leads to another type issue. Is why we're asking the advice of an architect who's done roofs in purgatory and has
Right.
done these types of roofs and
Right.
understands this kind of situation.
I have one point and a question. Where is the roof leaking in the lodge? That's my question. And the second point is, I've never had a metal roof, but I have a neighbor who has one, and she informed me that insuring a metal roof is more expensive than a composite roof.
Yeah, it depends where you're located. We don't have the same hail problem that folks, if you have a metal roof in Dallas, it's gonna cost you more to insure.
Yeah, well, we live just south of there, so.
Okay,
I mean, we
That's
live in an area.
like I don't have that problem in Houston because we don't have a hail problem.
Okay, okay. Well, I just know that that's what she had told me, so that's why I brought that up. But my question was, where is the roof leaking in the lodge?
Bobby, you want to take that?
Yeah, the majority of our leaks that we've seen are on the west side, the northwest side of the lodge, from the fourth floor, northeast side, sorry. From the fourth down to the third and second.
Because we
What-
have our 510, so I was just trying to be careful because we haven't been able to get out there for a while, so.
What was that?
How many leaks this year?
23, 4?
We've had a total of 23 leaks this year.
Would you make people, like owners, aware if it's affected their condo?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, okay. I figured you would, but I just wanted to be sure because of my husband's health, we haven't been out there for over a year.
We notify owners immediately.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I would like to ask about the considerations of finances. Since the roof was replaced 25 years ago, have we been setting aside for a new replacement roof? Is there any of this set aside, and what kind of expenses and financing are we looking at dealing with?
I'll just say that roofs are expensive. We don't know what the cost is at this point. We don't even know what the scope is at this point in terms of maybe over a 5-year period. Until we know that, it's just premature even to answer that question. But it's a strong question, and it's where everything leads. But it's just not fair to anyone to speculate at this point in time.
Yeah, David, just to
So
clarify.
before we go there, we all understand roofs are expensive. In the last 25 years, have we created a savings account for this time?
David, I can answer that. So
Okay.
we as an association have what's called a long-term asset replacement policy. Lives on the website. You can look at it. That is for any what we consider long-term assets that need to be replaced over time. And all of those assets have what you'll call a shelf life. The roof is part of that. The carpet in the lodge is part of that. I'm not even going to try to speculate what the rest is because I don't remember. But so as such, we put aside reserves. A portion of everyone's dues and assessments over the course of the years has been put into reserves. Those reserves are intended to be there when expenses are needed. But again, those reserves are typically based on an assessment at a point in time. So we don't have a final bid on this yet. there are portions of our reserve that will likely be applied to this. But until we get to that point and understand what the dollar amount is, you know, as he was alluding to, you know, it's a little premature because we don't know yet. We don't have a final bid. We haven't picked materials, but yes, there is a process, you know, required by Kiowa, which is the Colorado law that covers this, that we reserve for long-term asset replacement items, and the roof is one of those.
In general, is that 5%, 10%, 2%, 1%?
Honestly, it varies year over year.
I'll dig into the policy and look at it. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put a number on it because it's based on a budget that is anticipated. That budget uses, you know, anticipated expenses. And, you know, a perfect example is this year, we blew through our snow removal budget. So that will affect, you know, theoretically, that'll affect the amount we can put in reserves. Now, we've tried to cut expenses elsewhere to make up for it, but, you know, a budget is a budget, and it's a snapshot in time. Hope that helps.
Is there anyone else with questions? Otherwise, we'll give everyone's day back. I think as we move forward, input's important. There is a email site that Paige gave me. It's called talktotamron@gmail.com. As we go through this process, if you hear things, if someone has any kind of information on roofs, well, we have a leak that we haven't reported. Well, we think things are great. Well, this or well, that. Any information that an architect might use to evaluate where our roofs are. Any observations that you have, if you live here 365, that some people that don't may have, send it to talktotamron@gmail.gov. We will look at it. .com. We will look at it. It'll be taken to the architect as if it's information she needs, and everyone's input is important. And with that, I don't have anything unless Scott, Rick, Andy, John.
I'd say one thing.
Look, Eric.
Be aware that now that this process has started, there's going to be a whole lot of rumors that go around. They've already started. Pay no attention to the rumors. If you want information, you can write to the board. You can ask us. We will give you the information that we have, but that's going to be limited until we get information from the architect, from the roofing people. But please don't believe rumors that you hear from somebody who heard something from somebody else.
Yeah,
That's going to happen, guaranteed.
it's really why we're doing this, because I've heard one rumor that all I could do is roll my eyes back. That's why we're doing this.
What was the room?
I don't even want to say it. Because we'll come down with laughter.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean,
Please come and ask us. We're here 5 days a week, and that's
Well,
what
it's,
we
you
want
know,
to.
it's a
answer
big
your
project.
questions.
It's a process. You know, after they do an analysis, after you have roofers out here that actually do an analysis, you may elect to do a partial. You know, a partial replacement this year, you know, over a period of time. I mean, it's just, you know, my answer, if I go to the Bud Hut, you know, and people are talking and they don't know what they're talking about is, if you've never been involved in a project like this, it's a huge project. I was on the board of 2 churches, like 2 Episcopal churches, like in West Texas and in Dallas and stuff like that. You know, and it's just a process, and, you know, people just have to be aware of, you know, it's just a process. You just don't go, okay, we got to replace the roof. Okay, let's get some bids and let's just do it.
It's not like we're choosing paint colors.
You know, you're not.
Yeah, to add to that,
A lot of people have.
we are all over this as a board. I mean, we know that, you know, this is something that this year's winter displayed the issues that we have. I'm not in Durango right now. I have no idea how much snow has melted, but there was a lot of ice there 3 weeks ago when we did the tour. And we're trying to expedite and move this as quick as we can, but there are some processes that can't be done until that snow clears.
Scott, you'd be astonished how little snow is left.
You know what? When I saw you guys were having a landscape meeting, I was hopeful that was gonna be the answer. So,
Yes, Scott, every single ornamental bed on the property is fully exposed.
well, okay. Well, good. Then that just gives Allison a chance to get moving.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your comments and stay tuned for coming attractions.
I enjoy being here and thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
All right.